everyone, I'm Dr. Sonali and I welcome you all to CSC Core Concepts in the series Data Science with Python. So far we have studied about the various classifiers. Now we move on to the next classifier, that is the random forest classifier. The theory regarding the random forest classifier is there in my machine learning playlist, and the implementation of this algorithm in RStudio is also there in my playlist. I will share both the links in the description box as well as in the comment section. And I recommend you to please go through the theory first so as to understand the working principle behind the random forest classifier. Now, this algorithm is something which works for both the classifier as well as for the regression. So in this video, we will discuss about the classifier model, and in my next video, we will discuss about the regression model. So let us get started with it. So I am going to use my diabetes data set. So regarding the diabetes data set, we have already studied, or let me just show you, have a look at it. So you can have a look here that how does your diabetes data set looks like. Here you have to predict whether a patient will have diabetes or not. That depends on several parameters such as plasma, pressure, skin test, mass, pedigree, age, and it will decide whether he has diabetes or not. So if he has diabetes, it is classified as 1, and if he does not have diabetes, it is classified as 0. So let us use the pandas data set to read this CSV file. So pd.read CSV. I have already I have already kept my data set in Google Drive, and I have also mounted my Google Drive with my Google Colab. So here just I need to give the path where my data file is there. So my drive, and the name of the file is diabetes.csv. So let us have a look at some of the data. So data set.head, let's say 5 elements. Let's see the first 5 rows. So one thing we need to see here is that first we need to analyze that what type of pre-processing we require here. Now, as I can see from the data set, the values are in continuous values, so they do not have any ordinal attribute. So we need not do any one hot or label encoder. That is fine. But the second thing what I notice here is that you can see the data ranges in separate values, right? So the test values range from 0 to some 168, and pedigree value are mostly in the decimal ways. Mass is also in the decimal, whereas age is like this, and pressure and different, right? So what we need to do is that we need to normalize our attributes using the standard scalar library. Now before we can do that, we have to split our data set as the X values are the input, that is plasma, pressure, skin test, mass, pedigree, age are the input, and diabetes class is the target class or the output class. Okay, so X is equals to, let us assign ILOC. I want to include all the rows but not the last column, all the columns except the last one. Sorry, I need to write down dataset.ILOC, and Y is equals to dataset.diabetes class, right? Now what we need to do is that these X values, that is all these parameters, we need to convert into a we need to scale them. So when we want to scale them, we have to import from sklearn.preprocessing. We need to import the standard scalar library, and let's create an instance of the standard scalar. Okay, and let us fit all the X values, that is sc.fit transform the X values, right? So this all the X values will be fitted. If you want to see how do they look like, just print them. So you can see it has converted into an array, and the values you can see they are in the range 0.84, 0.14, all values, right? So maybe it has scaled, and negative values are also there. So it might have scaled from -1 to 1. So whatever, irrespective of this, now why it is necessary that we have discussed a theory on that in model fitting, and otherwise also why we need, so that some features do not dominate over the other features. All have been scaled to a standard scaling parameter, right? So after doing this, now what we need to do is that we need to split our data into two parts, that is the training and the testing. So for that we need the model selection module. Okay, from that we need to import the train test split, right? And here we need to write down x train x, we will get the four values, that is the testing and the training for both x as well as y. So this we will get by calling the function train test split, and x will be splitted based on the x train and x test will be based on capital X, small y for y training and y testing. Then we need to specify the size of the testing data. Let's say 80-20. So 20% will be my testing data and 80% will be my training data. And we want some randomness in our data. So let's say random state is 20. Let us print and see what type of data we are, what is the shape of our X train and Y train and X test dot shape. Let us see the training and the testing data. So our training data is 614 records of 7 columns and testing data for X is 154 records of 7 columns, right? Now after doing this, what we need to do, now same thing you can do for Y also, just a minute. So you can say that Y train dot shape and Y test dot shape. This also you can show. So Y values are only one column, so it is 614 and it is Y test is 154. So now when our data is splitted, now we can create the model and train the model. Now random forest is a type of ensemble learning. So we need to import the package ensemble. Okay, import random forest classifier. Now since I told you that random forest can work as a classifier as well as a regressor, so it has both the features, but here we require the classifier model. So let us create the model is equals to random forest classifier. Let us not specify any argument right now. We will just see with default arguments how does it look like, and we will pass our model to train using the training data which is there in X train and Y train, right? So now you can see the model has been created. Now what is the principle of random forest? The principle of random forest is that it will create multiple decision trees, and based on the voting classification it will tell us whether data belongs to which class. This is what is about, right? So if you are not clear about it, I suggest you go through the theory. Now we need to know here that how many trees this model has created to generate the results, right? Results as now we don't know. Just let us have a look at the number of trees. So let's say I can say number of trees. How can you say that? Is that number of trees is model name dot and n underscore estimators. N underscore estimators will tell you how many trees have been used to generate the model, right? Let us have a look at it. So 100. Now by default it is 100, right? If you do not want the model to learn based on only 100 trees, then here in this, when you are creating the model using random forest classifier, here you can give the argument n estimators is equals to, let's say by default it is 100, so you can give 200. If you want the model to learn by creating more decision trees, you can use n, and you can even give another random state is equals to, let's say 42, just to have a randomness in the model creation. So now if you see, the number of trees uses 200. So if you don't specify anything, the number of trees it will use to create the model is 100, Otherwise, you can specify here in this argument how many trees you want to create your model. Understood? So now let us see how our model has learned. So for that we will check the y prediction is equals to model dot predict, and we will give our x testing data to predict the model. But it will be difficult for us to understand. So let us have some metrics. So from sklearn dot metrics we want accuracy score. We want to create our confusion matrix. Okay, and we of course want to create our, we want to display the confusion matrix properly. Okay, and of course we want a classification report. All the things what we require as of now, we will just include them, right? And now let's say there is okay, here we have to write import. Yeah, so now let us calculate the accuracy score. So accuracy score is equals to accuracy score between y y predicted and y test, right? Let us print it. So print, we can say accuracy score is, let us put it in round, otherwise it will give in decimals and very long. So accuracy into 100, let us round it off to 2 decimal places, and we want it in a percentage way. So it is 74.68%. Now, if you are not sure about how it will be created, let us reduce the number of trees. Sometimes the model gets overfitted, right? That then also it will not give you proper results. So let us see, yeah, 78.57 with 100 decision trees. Likewise, you can also calculate, you can create the confusion matrix between the y predicted and the y test. Okay, and you can use the display is equals to confusion confusion matrix display, where you have to give the argument, that is the confusion matrix is equals to cm, and display labels is equals to y test dot unique. You want to give all the unique names. Then you can just simply give some features like how your display should look like. Okay, so that also you can just give it here. Just a minute, it is, yeah. So now what you can do here is that you can create your own display using your own colors, or you can even go for some default colors, right? That is okay. So basically what we need is the is that it should be displayed very properly. So you can write down display dot plot. So you can just write down cmap is equals to plt.cm, let's say blues. Okay, and plt.show. Let us display the confusion matrix and see. Okay, so these are the diagonal elements are the correct ones. So 89 are correctly predicted for one class and 32 for the zero class. Rest are wrongly predicted. Now, if you are given the confusion matrix, from there also you can compute the accuracy score. How can you create that? Because the total elements in the confusion matrix is the total elements. That is the 89 plus 21 plus 12 plus 32. That is the total elements. Now, how many are correctly predicted? 89 and 32. Understood? So, you can just find out the accuracy percentage or the misclassification error. Similarly, you can also print your classification report. Okay, classification underscore report of your y predicted and y test, right? So this will give you the precision recall and all the statistical values. Now here it is fine. Okay, up to here it is the conventional way what we have been doing. Now what we need to do here is that we want to plot, right? Some measures we need to see here. The measures what we need to see here is that which features are contributing, so that we can more tune our model to give some higher accuracy. So in that case, what you can do is that let us plot it, okay, and see. For that, for plotting, we want the Seaborn library, okay, and Matplotlib is already there. So let us just see the important features, okay, which features are more contributing, because the number of trees we know now, that how can we manage the number of trees, okay. So importance is now SNS dot, I want a bar plot, but what I require is that I want my feature dot and sorry s names. I want them in a proper format to be displayed, is equals to using the column names which are there in the data set, except the last column. Understood? So yeah, so -1. Fine. And I want them to be in a sorted order. That is the least important features. Importance is equals to df is that is least important features should come in a ascending or a descending order, right? This is optional, purely optional if you want, otherwise it will simply show you, right? Importances, so index is equals to, you want the feature names to be displayed, and you want them to be in a sorted order, right? So that it looks nice, that which are the most important features and which are the least one. So ascending is equals to false, so maybe you want to show it in descending, whatever, okay. It is completely on us. So plt dot figure, let us plot a figure of size, let's say a generous size 10 cross 6. I missed out a bracket. Okay, 10 cross 6 figure size, and I want to create, let's say, a bar plot where my x values is equals to the importance df, right? Dot values, of course the values should be printed, and y is equals to my importance dot df dot index, df dot the index values, right? And I need to choose my palette. This is optional, otherwise it will give you a default palette, right? You can add some more features of the Matplotlib, that is title. You can give the feature important sorry 10 features. You can give some x labels, right? So you can just say x label is the importance value, and y labels are the features, okay, that is the features, and you can just say, okay, and you can just show your plot. Let us see how beautiful the plot will be displayed, you see now. So I have set it in a descending order, so we have set it false. If you want it in ascending, that's fine. So the highest important feature is the plasma, right? Which is having an important value for contribution for model accuracy. Then comes mass, age, pedigree, pressure, skin, and test. So what you can do, if you want to fine tune your model, you can just have a look at it, and based on this, what you can do is that you can remove the unimportant features like skin, test, pressure. Okay, let's do that. We can just drop out two features, skin and test. Now skin and test are which index 0, 1, 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Right. So I can just say I want 0, 1. I want to drop 2 and 3. Right. 4, 5 and 6. I want to keep them. 4, 5 and 6. Now you can rerun your full model, because you have eliminated those features which are not contributing you more. Right. So you can just see with the default 100 trees, okay, you can just, this is just a trial and an error. You can see the model did not perform very well, it is still 75%. So these are the different ways by which you can at least figure out that what are the important features. So now you can see all features are not coming. That is why it is giving you an error over here, because we have reduced the number of features. Understood? So feature names, we are not sorting all the feature, it is not getting, so it is giving you an error. So but you can have at least an idea that which features are playing an important role. Okay, which features are playing an important role and contributing when you are trying to execute the model. Understood? So this is how you can use the random forest classifier. You can use it on any type of data set, for your own data set also, and you can just try it out by using this so that you can get a clear idea. In my next video, we will be discussing about the random forest regressor, which will work for the continuous data, especially when your output is a numerical output. So stay tuned to this channel and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.